cry. Purge tonight, yeah. We gon' purge tonight. Kiss what you love goodbye, yeah. It's gon' burn down in fire. Burn it down. You're all gonna die, yeah, I said you're all gonna die. You're all gonna die down here. Rock goodbye, baby, yeah. Close your eyes real tight. You're all gonna die, yeah. You're all gonna die. You're all gonna die down here. Rock goodbye, baby, yeah. Close your eyes real tight. Hush, little baby, don't cry. Kill these motherfuckers, I'ma kill them all. Gotta find a plot of land big enough to bury y'all. Shoot these motherfuckers, I said drop them all. Make the children all foster kids, drop them off. You're all targets each and every one of y'all. You're all targets, I don't see no friendlies at all. Shoot your shot, hit your targets and pick them off. Short burst, keep calm while you popping off. Pop, yeah, pop it off. Drop the bodies off. Last one alive inherits the throne. Warriors have hands of stones. Be a king and stand alone. Ain't no fucking chaperones. Grab your blade and stand your ground. Thump your chest and stand proud. Shout your shield and say it loud. One's a king, two's company, and three's a crowd. Chop his head off, show the crowd. Who's the king now? Shout it loud. I'm the king of you peasants now. Now bow down. You're all gonna die. You're all gonna die down here. Rock goodbye, baby, yeah. Close your eyes real tight. You're all gonna die, yeah. You're all gonna die. You're all gonna die down here. Rock goodbye, baby, yeah. Close your eyes real tight. Hush, little baby, don't cry.
Father's a savage.
I'm bombing my high school teacher. Don't sing.
Lady bros.
1, 2, we're coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, grab your crucifix. 7, 8, better stay up late. 9, 10, never sleep again.
Pussy motherfucker, I will spit in your face. Make a problem, bitch, I'll put you in your place. Don't play around, we don't keep it safe. Take it to your crib, empty the safe. Pussy motherfucker be in front of your face. Talk behind your back, thinking that they safe. Frontin' like they love you, but they always full of hate. I love that shit and I feed off the fakes. We eat off the snakes like we living out of India. Can't you tell, homie, nah, we ain't really into ya. We won't see eye to eye inside of this millennium. Slap dog shit out you, I ain't really feeling them. Bunch of fabricated niggas, nah, we ain't seeing them. They'll play the food, all we really need is seasoning. They so concerned with how we all eating it. Shut your fucking mouth, homie, never ever speak again. They doubt us, they don't know about us. They doubt us, we show them our power. They cowards, they running, they cower. We scour their towers, they hiding for hours. The fan full of shooters, got snipers on deck, and not Bradley Coopers. They shooters, not like the movies. They the real kind, not like the rappers that do ya. These Bronx fuckers sleep in the sewer. They the type dude drive bys in a scooter, knock at your door and doom ya. Look at here, champ, they really will boom ya. Leave you with a hole in your mouth with your whole jaw out while you hole in your mouth, put a hole in your clout, a hole in your...
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to our perspectives. This is the 65th episode of the show. And my name is Holden Stefan Roy, and we have Liddy Bro Flacco over here to the left of me. And we are excited to be back with another episode of Our Perspectives, where we tell you what we think about some of the stuff happening in the world today related to the news, hip-hop, entertainment, whatever it happens to be this week. To get the show started, we usually like to, recap what we've been up to. We also missed last week, so it's been a couple weeks since we've actually done a show. And so what have you been up to, Flacco? I know you've been busy.
We did the show right after vacation, and then we missed a week after. Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Been busy, man. Just been fucking, grinding and doing a lot. Hit the studio after vacation. Got some songs in. Yeah, man. Just been busy and blessed to be busy.
Fair. Yeah, no. I've been doing a bunch of stuff, trying to get, catch up with work. And then I got randomly a gig to go drive like 2.5 hours out of Montreal to go rap with the brass band and get some city tourism money, which is always fun. And then got to do that. I went to the wrestling show, which was a very fun time. And you have to really appreciate wrestling for their ability to take storytelling to like the fucking 10th level of references. Like, they made references to the Bret Hart screw job and all kinds of shit, stuff that happened in the 90s. And it's just like they're just willing to do that, like go there and tap into everything because they know their fans are gonna love that shit. And there really is just that much shit for the fans to love. It was such an experience to watch them.
It's it allows, it's like battle rap. It allows, the fandom allows for you to be very, catering to the fans and to the nostalgia and
It's so ritualistic. Like, everybody knows what to do to play their parts. Like, they have the same chants down. Everybody just knows what time it is all the time. I was like, this is an impressive, fun event, which was a good time. Yeah, otherwise, it's just been a lot of work, Ubering, and just making money so that I can afford to do more expensive things. Because, that's just kind of how it goes. But
got a taste for it now.
Yeah, just out there. And also, music's expensive. I got like a few performances coming up, and it's like, shit, man, I have to actually make all these songs at some point. And it's like, when you realize you have to take time off of work to make music, you're like, shit, that's extra expenses that people never talk about because you're not making money when you're in the studio. Or at least, anyway, that's just where I'm at. It's like fucking hard to find time to actually do some of the shit I want to do, and everything. It just feels like, well, if we're not actually working, what are we doing here? Never understood all those rap bars so much as I do at this phase of my life.
Yeah, I mean, it's different when you're getting paid for rapping, They're being paid to be in the studio.
That's true. I'm not getting paid to be in the studio right now. But if I was getting paid to be in the studio, good fucking Lord, I would not leave the studio.
Right. You'd show the same dedication that you show your jobs right now.
Absolutely. But to get to that point, you have to make enough money to take the time off to go in the studio and pretend like you're getting paid to go to the studio.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't have to pretend.
Well, I meant like in terms of work ethic. What's up, Chris? Check your Facebook Messenger. And yeah, so that's kind of it. Just been grinding and planning this trip to go watch whales with Bonnie.
Work. Whale watching with Bob.
Yeah, on a boat. Yeah, I guess that's what I've been up to.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so it looks like Biden dropped out of the election.
It looks like Biden dropped out of the election. Um, we were in Puerto Rico when Trump got shot at,
Yeah.
and then the week after we did the show, when we came back, uh, Biden dropped out of the election. He got
Yeah.
sick. He was at home recuperating from COVID.
He also did the
And
really trash debate, with the really trash debate performance where like he was like forgetting shit, and he like said Vice President. She called Kamala Harris Vice President Trump at one point, and like there was a few other like really embarrassing mix-ups he was making where it was beyond the point of like the earlier flubs. He was making the kind of mistakes you can't be having when you're dealing with other world leaders.
right, I mean, he wasn't dealing with other world leaders, but yeah, right. Um, yeah, he dropped out. Uh, it's crazy because I have been telling people that that's what was wrong with the Democratic Party this election, where it was just like, he was not supposed to run again. He was supposed to step down and make room for somebody else. And that was what was causing people to be like, I'm not voting Democrat, or, questioning where they're going to vote. So he did the smart thing for the party. Um,
But like, is people gonna back Kamala Harris? Like, I don't know. Because now I guess there's another candidate, but it just creates like a whole wave of, is very late to the game for her. Honestly, as a Canadian, I ain't heard shit about her for like 3 years, and she went to high school in my city. So like, there's just no news. I don't know anything about this woman.
but you guys wouldn't, right? Like, I could tell you that, like, since he dropped out, I've seen nothing but like an outpouring in my feed of like all sorts of just Kamala memes, news, videos, both positive and negative. If anything, like, it's been so much positive that I've been kind of like skeptical and wondering if it's like her campaign doing like through bot profiles or something like that, because it's just like this is suspicious, like how suddenly there's so many posts. But there's even TikTokers getting in on it, and like all sorts of people like just kind of like endorsing her as a person, as a candidate, debunking some of the things that people have said about her throughout the years, and just a lot of stuff. So, like, I would assume that that's just because you're not in the country, so you're not going to get the same. You're not going to have people all over your country in your news feed talking about Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of buzz because let's say she does become the president, then that high school is about to brag like, and you're gonna watch this high school brag like crazy that a U.S. president went there, because she moved to Montreal and shit up here for a minute. But I don't know. I just feel like, are people really gonna vote for her? Or like, is like that it? Like, I think Trump's galvanized this crazy force of people, and I know that given that Biden, a lot of people weren't gonna vote Democrat because of Biden, but is she like just because she's young and not gonna die, like she just becomes by proxy like the best choice, and that's just it?
I mean, part of the Biden news is that the DNC convention is coming up August 19th to 22nd. So like, she's not the nominee yet, you know?
Right.
There's like a whole decision process that has to go for the Democratic Party to come to their decision. Bonnie asked, how is this suspicious? And question of me saying. I just think that it was suspicious that there was so much positive, like, and debunking stuff about her so fast. And it's not like suspicious of like some conspiracy theory. It's just like, oh, this is very likely her campaign team, doing social media marketing and making sure that like they're paying the right people and profiles to, say things about her that they've designed and answered back to the questions that people are asking about her, which is all okay. You know what I mean? Trump does that. Every nominee does that. Every political candidate does that. It's the new form of commercials, is making people who are popular on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, make posts about the things that you'd like people to know about you,
And also, RFK Jr. has been pretty damn successful gaining popularity. My understanding is, while he doesn't have a chance in hell at winning, he is up to 18% of people. He's getting up to 18% of the vote in some of these states where he's been really polling heavy, which is a third-party candidate is pretty fucking crazy. What it does mean is it's going to pull away from one side or the other, and I don't really know a lot about RFK or who's going to vote for him, but he's really going to.
I mean, I think it's a
the election result.
It's a mix of both. There are a lot of people, for as what's the word that I'm looking for? Not contrasting. For as splintered as America seems these days, and as divided as the news makes it out to be, there are a lot of centrist people in the country. There's a lot of people who are young and old, and they're neither Democrat nor Republicans, and they don't bear any allegiance to either party. And so it's really just a contingency of swing voters in the country, which is why I'm constantly pushing third-party voting and third-party ideologies, because it's just, we've been in a two-party system for far too long, and it hasn't shown us any progress of any sort. And people are truly sick and tired of the system, right? It's why Trump was allowed to succeed. It's why January 6th happened and the invasion on the Capitol happened. It's why people are so angry. It's why the news makes it out to seem like we're so divided. Like, people are really tired of the same shit. So a third party would at least allow for a breath of fresh air to come into the system, and people to try to switch things up on the government. I'm definitely gonna keep my vote to like the last minute, and I'm gonna see which one of the third party candidates I really want to go for. It was mostly like Cornel West that I was thinking about voting for, if not writing in Kanye. But
I guess Kanye's not actually running this year, eh?
But I'm so yeah, he's not. But I'm so in favor of a third party that I'd be willing to vote for RFK if I see that the numbers like are headed in that direction, where like we can make an impact this election with third party candidacy. I'll definitely swing my vote over to RFK just so that we can get that going. Seems like a worthwhile fight.
I mean, to piggyback on that, if the popular vote can hit a certain percentage, I think it's 5 to 10%, something on that number, for a third-party candidate in the following election, they get to participate in the main state debates as an equal participant as a third party, and that's just based on how your current system is. It's just that never happens. So y'all in the states do have the ability to create a third-party system,
Yeah.
or at least a multi-party system,
Right.
by
So
participating.
my like when people ask me, which happens a lot on like Twitter Spaces, where everybody wants to like have a debate about every opinion that you have about anything. I get asked a lot by like Democrats, like of like, what's my plan? Like, so what's my answer? And my answer is always the same. The plan is to vote third party enough so that we can get a third party candidate on the debate stage. The main debate stage is the next election, right? And then in a fantasy world, eventually that leads to a third party candidate presidency. That presidency affects fucking nothing because he will have nobody on the Congress
Shit.
stage to help him. Like a third party candidate president isn't going to have third party candidate Congress people to help him move his votes through, move his like policies through, move anything that like matters to him and that he's trying to push through. So it really is just a figurehead thing. But once the presidency happens, then you get to see more third party candidate Congress people, U.S. representatives, state representatives, just all around more third party candidates. It's like a 20 to 40-year plan. Like it's not something that's going to happen, oh, the next election and then solves the issue. But in America, where we literally have been doing two-party candidacy voting for over 100 years now, it's like the only plan that seems logical to me. Somebody who like doesn't like routine, or doesn't like stagnancy and lack of growth. That's what I despise the most, is stagnancy and lack of growth. I want to be able to grow in anything that I'm doing and everything that I'm doing in life. And I don't want to be put in a box, and I don't want to be put in a corner and told that I have a limit on what I can do. And third party candidacy is just like the only, and this is just, I don't have kids, right? So like this is like for all my friends' kids, you know, and for like people like in the next generations to benefit
Nah,
from.
man, and like
Because
what you're saying makes a lot of sense because the current politicians are wildly corrupt. Like, yo, how often do you hear
wildly
about
corrupt.
Congress people and senators that are just fucking multi-gajillionaires because they fucking they just know all this insider information. They can trade really good on stocks via proxy of their family members and shit like that. Like, there's just a bunch of weird shit that happens in the current situation because everyone's safe and secure in their positions, all like the people who run the government, because of this deep entrenched system. So by shaking it up with that next president as an example, nothing would happen for 4 years, but what would happen is that the security and safety of how everything's ran will never be the same again, and there will always be this realization that it could change, somebody else could win. And by like showing interest in third party candidates, you will create more viable options to appear, because I don't think people who could possibly win the third party thing for real run, because people think there's no chance in hell at winning. And when you run for an election, chances are you're putting up a lot of your own money into that shit.
Lot.
So
yeah,
like,
it's just you're tired. It's, there's so many people tired of it. And to touch on what you said about people being tired of the corruption in the system, I don't know if you guys know in Canada and shit, but just June 20, back at the end of June, so right before July 4th, right before America's Independence Day was celebrated, the U.S. Supreme Court issued a ruling that effectively legalizes bribery for state and local officials. So long
Yeah.
as they receive the cash or gifts after taking the official act the briber wants. So literally, and like people literally are so tired of politicians.
Wasn't that part of like the governor dude who took bribes and got to live like a lavish life? I'm not well. I'm not
Nah,
well
It's
versed,
it's
just
not connected. The Supreme Court gets to pass on like laws. They're the ones that
right.
repealed Roe versus Wade and effectively repealed a bunch of abortion
Right.
rights. So like they vote on like big issues and big things. Not like a governor would get judged by his state court. Not
Also,
like
I'm pretty sure it was because one of the judges, the black one, got bribed.
It's that
And
guy. Yeah.
yeah, it's
so
the guy
it was
that
literally
Trump
a question
got in.
of one of them that got bribed, and so they effectively legalized bribery so that the Supreme Court could be bribed. Is the optics of the situation and the allegedlys and all that, but that's what it looks like. Because, and then when they got to justify it, they passed up whatever. I don't really remember the details of the letters, but they all wrote their little letters and made it official that you could get these bribes, which is
Insane.
Insane.
That's why there's
Insane.
a legitimate argument to be made that politicians should be paid significantly more than they are as an effort to kind of resist corruption. Like if you were going to make $2 million a year, you might be less inclined to take the bribe versus the $250,000 a year they make.
Yeah, but then if somebody offers them more than what they make, you're just back
Yeah,
in
nah.
the same. Like you don't
Corrupt people are just, you know, it's why there's a saying of, you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely, you know, because people won't, like, there's been very few examples on earth of like people with absolute power not being corrupted by it, you know?
Right.
Like you gotta have checks and balances. And if there's no checks and balances,
assume that
then
if you're giving them more money, there would be much more extreme punishments and rules put in place about gifts and all that other shit. But no one would enforce it in the current system, and that's probably the problem.
probably the problem.
Yeah.
I think it always comes down to finding how do we. I think the conversation always comes down to how do we find a world without greed or power? How do we find the the idea of like equality and equalness?
That's why communism always seemed like an appealing idea to me. It's the idea that's appealing, but the problem with communism is that there's always men in charge of it. And because of that, there's always somebody at the top of the pyramid that's going to be like, okay, we're all equal and we all share everything except me. I get to have a little bit more. And that's where like it just crumbles the whole ideology of everything. Like it's all a great idea and ideology, but because there's always somebody trying to manipulate and there's always somebody at the top as a figurehead who's gonna want to be a little bit higher than everybody else, it's always gonna fail and not work out. But the idea of it works beautifully, you know? Like the idea of it is fantastic.
But a woman council.
But like 50-50, like 50 men, 50 women. And like break them down to subsectors and everything.
So like, okay, so you just gotta like look at how women give away money from a charity perspective. Men give away money and expect buildings and statues and fucking parades and all this other shit. All these billionaire wives that like the Bezos wife and the Bill Gates wife, all these billionaire wives and shit that got wild cash right now. They'd just be like pulling up, handing you a check for $15 million on the low and walking away. Because women just be like about that shit in a different way. Where I never thought about it before, but perhaps communism ran by women without men in charge could in fact solve some of the greed problems. Because that's always been my argument about communism is like Yo, have you seen how greedy people are? Communism isn't really, it never took into account human greed and ambition and shit like that. It's more like this idea that you're willing to ignore your ambition to play your part, which I don't see that happening if men are in charge. But maybe if women are in charge, set up a system, it could work.
Yeah, but
Maybe.
maybe.
Yeah, we
I
got
feel
someone
like
on
it's still
Facebook speaking Arabic at us, and that's lit. They definitely don't understand us, but shout out you, our Facebook friend.
I think it's a way of, because even greed, like whether you're woman or man, if you have a greedy personality, if you fall into that like power trip mode, if you get like overcome by the power, you still become that like evil, a stereotypical like evil villain type shit. So I feel like if we had different people counsel and like everybody had to kind of agree on some shit.
Yeah, when
Well,
I
we
was a
can
little kid,
say,
I used to always say
Like,
that.
isn't that what we have now?
well, no,
I
we
would
have a
always say
council. Sorry, go on, Flacco.
when I was a little kid, I used to always say like humans aren't ever gonna fucking stop fighting over race and religion
Yeah.
until aliens show up, and you see somebody with 3 arms or 4 arms instead of two, and then suddenly the people with 2 arms seem way more like your brother than like your enemy. You know?
Facts. Also, Chris, to like answer your question, it's basically a lot of white dudes that are on the councils you're describing. It isn't exactly a situation where there's a lot of women or people of color. And yes, we can all acknowledge that in certain domains things have changed a little bit. But like when you get to stuff like venture capital, finance, banking, shit where like the gajillions of dollars are, that's still some serious white dude fan club shit. Just look at all the AI CEOs and look at what color like, they are. Look at Silicon Valley and tell me it's not a bunch of honkies and men across the board.
Well, that's where in my like little perfect vision
not necessarily
of what
just honky. Actually, if we think it, there is a lot of people of different cultures there, but the leadership teams tend to kind of look the same.
Nah, it's mostly I'm like it's still like easily broken down, you know, like black people are still underrepresented there as well, while like Asians are like really the second dominant.
Absolutely. But yeah, so because of that, I just think that we don't have examples of it where women ran the shit. But however, when you do come across any matriarchal system, it seems to work really fucking well without a lot of the problems dudes bring to the table. And I don't have any good examples offhand, but it is something that has come up across various podcasts and books I've read, that women ran companies tend to just treat their employees better on average. There's obviously corrupt people, but on average.
But I think that just applies to how either I guess men act, how we're raised, how we've been taught to think a certain for like the longest time. Because like we kind of treat each other, for lack of a better term, we kind of treat each other like shit. Like, I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about this. Man up, keep it to yourself. I think lately and as of recently, we've been more open and more accepting of like men's feelings and stuff like that. But if we've got a bunch of dudes in power who have that sort of mentality and just keep, recycling people who've got that mentality, nothing's going to change.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, facts. All right.
Right. Which is the same mentality that I had with Welfare Party, which is why, that's the beginning of this whole conversation. Back to I guess the news. The Olympics had we saved Deadpool for the Olympics had a controversy. People were in an uproar over the opening ceremony in Paris because LGBTQ was heavily represented at the table. and they felt like the table was a scene from the Last Supper. Um, it got explained that it was not, in fact, the Last Supper that they were um, portraying, but something called like an ancient Greek bacchanal.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like
Bacchanal?
some
I don't
celebration of
know.
the gods? It was a dance and celebration of the gods. That's what I was
Hmm.
hearing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I look, man. It's just this year. Like I feel I don't know for how long because I kind of stopped paying attention, but everything's trying to catch up with like representation, like the Olympics, companies, games. Like everything's trying to get like okay, again, for lack of a better word, more woke, right? Like I hate that term, but I just don't know how to really explain myself right now. Um, and I
I
feel
don't
like
think
it's
it's
now these.
woke. I don't think it's woke. I think that everybody's trying to out um what's the word? Uh what's that word when where everybody chastises uh each other for like that fake like oh, everybody's trying to out virtue signal each other.
Okay. Yeah, I was
Everybody's
50-50 on that.
everybody's busy virtue signaling. That's all it is. It's not
Yeah.
even woke. It's just everybody wants to outvert like virtue signaling, just
Like
like,
it's
oh,
just
you can't do that. Oh, you can't do that. And it's just like, okay,
but
kind
it's
of
like
weird.
especially with like Christians, American Christians in particular, have this super bad habit of just kind of assuming shit sinful or mockery, and like nobody really researched
Right.
it. They saw this group of people at a table and assumed this had to be the Last Supper because of arrogance of our part of the world. Now, let's be honest, Canadians, y'all be acting like Canada is like even thought about by other countries. I promise you, it's rarely thought about by other countries in a real way. It's just like we're a passing thought at best. So like, we forget that there's a giant world out there with a lot of cultures, and France did their thing and they did it their way, and they just took on what they chose to be important, and a bunch of people here felt it was inappropriate or whatever because of local politics, or their kids might see it. You know how parents are. Parents will be like, oh my god, my kid's gonna turn gay if they see some weird shit on TV and whatnot. So like that kind of shit happens. The next thing you know, they're all fucking.
Such fragile parenting.
And then like the media
It's
gets a
like,
hold of
yo, you're
it.
so worried. If you're so worried, that means you don't think you did a good job.
Oh, oh,
Oh, but they're brainwashed into believing that shit too. They're like literally, cause like I grew up in church and shit, so I know all about that. Like the world's fucking full of sin. Be watchful for it. Protect your flock, and like you're almost like trained by the church to like to be this way, to be this kind of militant force of angrily trying to protect the children from the evils at bay and
but
create
if you're
these like.
protecting your flock and protecting your children, and your child ends up being, then like, what, aren't you just going against everything you've been taught? Like, is your
I'm not them, but everybody. I mean, yes, they're hypocrites, Chris. But like they make millions and millions of dollars being hypocrites in an organized, tactful way.
yeah?
So the more they can rage bait their shit, the media gets the clicks, the fucking churches, mega pastor motherfuckers get their extra money for donations to fight the evils in the world, and all that shit turns into a bunch of angry people on Twitter. And then if you look at the media, they just go on Twitter and quote tweets and shit. So Twitter kind of influences the narrative a lot more than it should, because I don't think that many people even go on it anymore. I mean, I know I saw Flacco was in a Spaces this morning, but I don't really go on it that much anymore.
I'm
Yeah, no, I
not.
don't go on it that much myself anymore. Like, I definitely spent like months and months. Last time I had been on was like back in April. And I got frustrated back then because it's just like an echo chamber. When you get like a bunch of people together, like it's hard for people to resist the mob mentality, you know, and to fall in line with each other. And I'm a hopeless contrarian, like absolute hopeless. When you put me in a room full of, let's say it's 100 people and 95% of them all agree with each other, I'm going to disagree just because. Just because. That is what the room needs. You need some disagreement. It's too much pandering. It's too much. It once you my shit be like, yo, once I'm in a room like that, it's my obligation to disagree. Just so that we can have conversation and discourse and discord on what we're talking about, or else we're not having a serious, honest debate about what we're talking about. You know, if you have no pushback towards your idea, is your idea right, or is it just what people fell in line with? Because humans tend to crave subjugation and rulership and leadership, you know,
They
and
also
they
want to
tend to be
feel
followers.
they also want to feel validated, so they'll put themselves in rooms where
Mhm.
everybody agrees with them. You just have to look at comment sections on any video to watch the two groups of people backing each other up in pretty much any polarized piece of content out there. But yeah, if you think about that Neil fucking deGrasse Tyson video we watched back when we were watching videos, and or when we looked at how he dissected the fucking dissertation that other dude did, and he was like, yo, it's respectful to tear apart your peers' ideas so that you can get to the best possible version of the truth in scientific communities. But when we get to real life, there's no expertise or anything, right? So people don't know how to recognize expertise, which I think is a big problem in society. It's like there are a lot of experts out there who you should be listening to, but like instead you just listen to either people you agree with or whatever you understand the most, which isn't necessarily the truth. So when you come across, like, yo, being wrong sucks. It sucks to realize especially if you've advocated for something for years and years. Like, you gotta understand, I used to be a real hater for a lot of things. Like, I was a Drake hater for a long time, just because. Now that I like his shit, I have to like reconcile the fact that means I was probably wrong for many, many years about the way I approach Drake in general, because clearly that's just how it is. But if you get like stuck in these little rooms where everybody just hates Drake, and you never go out to a place where you can experience Drake in the right setting or whatever, and kind of evolve your taste, you're just never gonna hit greater places in life. Like, it's impossible to level up without new experiences. And you know, I encourage travel a lot, but just even arguing with people will, if done right, shape you into a better human being.
Absolutely.
I think dissecting problems and trying to build like the best product is always a good idea. I do agree with that. What I wanted to like, what do you think about, like, you know how people, you were mentioning people have an issue like giving respect to other people who know what they're talking about, like not. Anyway, never mind.
People struggle to recognize expertise, is I think what I had said.
Right. Yes, that. So is it possibly because of the fact that like when we're just told so much that people who have expertise are kind of like AKA Kanye's of the world, the Jay-Z's of the world, the like people who are famous already established, and we don't like glorify or like give respect, like you said, to like the locals. Like, when's the last time like you saw somebody give respect to like a local person who has that expertise compared to go to this Mr. Professional person who's been established for 25 years and like big super rich type shit? Like, we're kind of like conditioned that way to not really look at people and give. Yeah,
I think there's a lot less local professionals. I think through some of the perspectives interviews, we heard a lot about stuff like how there'd be like the local pharmacy guy, and that guy's a professional for the hood, and now that isn't really what it is. You just have local chains, or there's a lot less access to it, but I also think the internet gave everybody a voice, and people often equate popularity with expertise, and in things like music, fashion, and other things of taste, popularity is expertise. But when you get to like science and shit, it's not. Like, expertise is like people who studied the fuck out of it and like spent 30 years learning about that one type of fucking bug. Like, that's a bug expert. And like people who really understand how shit fits into the bigger picture because they just spent all their time learning about whatever the fuck they're an expert at. Or in the craft world, like leather workers and fucking woodworkers and plumbers and all these people. So like experts will just be people who be really good at what the fuck they know how to do. So like if my plumbing is broken, I'm gonna go talk to a fucking plumber about getting my shit fixed because they're the expert. If I go on Facebook and go, yo, who can help me fix a pipe, I should not be treating everybody's answer as equal because I don't know who the fuck knows how to fix a pipe. So it's like, I don't think people seek out expertise. I think they just kind of get lazy with it and seek the quickest answer to things.
Or the common answer to things. Like if everybody says the same type of, the answer is blue and there's like 50 comments that are blue, then that's kind of it, instead of really just trying to figure it out.
Fair. That being said, Christians got mad at the Olympics, and a lot of people didn't understand what the fuck was happening and thought art was getting mocked. But the fact is, they were not actually mocking art. They were just paying homage to history that people don't know. And North America and them look kind of silly to me. I will say there is another Olympics controversy.
I don't think it's just North America.
Was it
It's a worldwide. Christian, Catholic believers, evangelists.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, in other Olympic controversy news, the Canadian Olympics soccer team, who has been doing quite well, got docked 6 points and had a player penalized and banned from it because we were using drones to spy on other fucking teams. That's right. Canada has some controversy in these Olympics. We finally have soccer players who can compete at a global level, and we're using drones to spy on other people's shit. Oh, Canada, what are we doing out here?
In other Olympic news, America failed to even qualify for shooting, for super pro guns. No shooters on the Olympic team.
How does that
mean? America didn't even hit top 5, bro. That shit is crazy. Like, that's embarrassing. Damn, son. Like, for the country with all the school shootings and all the like gun rights and all the gun advocacy and all this, like the biggest guns, the most guns, it's like to not even make the podium at all is like, what the fuck is going on? Also, Snoop Dogg represented America. I think that's the coolest thing. I don't think he was the actual official representative, but everybody's taking it like that, and everybody's like, yo, Snoop is the representative America really needs and deserves. Like, the best representative for America.
I was so surprised when I saw he got picked to be the Olympic torch character at the France Olympics. I'm like, France was like, we don't even got nobody. We're bringing Snoop in. And I was like, that's an incredible choice. And then when you think about Snoop's life, he has done some of the most incredible things that like most humans will never get to do. Like, it is a very, like, that's one person every 2 years that gets to carry the fucking torch. Or is it 4 years? I don't remember. I think it's, yeah.
The Olympics are every 4 years. I mean, the specific type of Olympic, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're staggered, and the like Winter Olympics happens in the 2-year period in between the 4 years of the Summer Olympics.
Right. Either way,
Yeah, I
so
think-
that
Every
means there's
4
just
years.
not. Yeah, there's not a lot of motherfuckers out there who will ever get to carry this torch in history, and Snoop got to be one.
And I think his story and him being able to carry the torch does like is very inspirational though. Like coming from where he comes from, the whole story of Snoop Dogg, and it's like I think that's part of what he's here on earth for. I think that's what he's here to be like, yo, we can do this. Him, his community, his people, they can do this. Look at him, he did it. I was very happy. I was very happy. I just saw it and I was like, that's fucking cool. That is fucking cool. That is super sick. I that's all I really had to say. I was just really, really excited and really happy for him.
Yeah. Shout out Snoop Dogg.
Definitely really cool to see. It was like,
Yeah.
look at how far hip hop's made it.
Right.
We really like we were like just the culture born out of like a want and a need, and
But he's
where
like
like
surpassed hip hop, no? Like Snoop has surpassed hip
nah,
hop.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's like being like Jordan surpassed basketball. It's like, yeah, but it's the vehicle for which he's known. Like to say he surpassed it is like that's absurd. Like what? Why?
It's more
Like
more people, I think, accept hip hop
Yeah.
because of Snoop Dogg. I think if anything,
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg
Yeah,
is on
exactly.
a list. Like, you know, those people who are like, I don't like rap, but, and then they got a list of like
Right.
5 artists they'll fuck with. Snoop Dogg is, and it's not even, they don't even know Snoop Dogg still drops music. They just know like
Yeah.
that when the pimp's in the crib, ma, drop it like it's hot. You know, it's like they got that shit on. They don't even listen to the
Another
words of
one
that
of
shit,
his
actually.
many songs, right? Because he's got a lot of hit records.
No, I do
Super
agree.
lot
I
of
was
hit
just
records.
thinking like at this point he's done so much and he's known for like so much that like people nowadays or even younger kids who know him may not know him for like hip hop per se. They may have seen him in like movies or TV shows or other things that like they kind of gravitate to. So I was just wondering like I was just thinking like a lot of people and probably a lot of people in the world definitely know him from hip hop, but like how many of us have been encountered to Snoop Dogg outside of that, and where does that like resonate now with him? I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like of the mentality of like you always like things like that are like, yo, you belong to a tribe. Like it'd be shame on you to like disband yourself from your tribe. Like
Right.
you're an ambassador as long as no matter what, right? Like The Rock is always an ambassador for wrestling. That's not an embarrassment. It's not like it's a shame on him, you know? It's not like he ever surpasses it, right? He always goes back to it, if anything, because there's so much value in showing that you appreciate your roots of where you
Right.
came from.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like that's just kind of like how I look at like all the people that come from anything, right? Like if tomorrow Tom Hardy became a full-time jujitsu fighter, it'd be like, yeah, but he started as an actor. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he
Right.
started as this, he started as that. Will Smith started as a rapper. It's never like, oh, sit down, Will,
I
you
mean,
can't rap anymore.
Will
Like,
Smith just
you know,
dropped
he
a
still
song.
raps.
He has
Yeah.
an album coming. Him and Russ are not doing music together.
Yeah. I mean, you know, so it's just one of those things where it's just like it's always like you're always connected to the thing that you came from, you know?
Right. Right.
And so he gets to be not only an ambassador, because like then the question becomes like, okay, so then when did he outgrow America and like representing America? Like when do you outgrow like representing anything? When do you outgrow being a man and representing men?
Well,
Like you
when
you
you
just
sell
always
out.
belong to different groups of people, you know what I mean? Or things, you know? You belong
Well,
to. You are. We're all of us on this call, right? Like we're all men. Like so now you belong to that group of people. You guys are white. You know what I mean? I'm fucking black. We each belong to those groups. Then there's the subsects of that groups, right? Like your mother is this, your father is that. Now you belong to all those groups of people. Then like where you're from, Montreal. So like, oh, but that's in Canada. So like you represent like you're a Canadian, but you're also like a Montreal. Like, you know, like there's and then there's, you know, all these other things that you will, oh, you know, I'm a huge anime fan. Um uh I'm this, I'm that. Holden's a book reader. It's just all these things that you just
I'm a book
belong to.
reader.
These are your tribes. You belong to many different tribes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that some people do turn their back on their tribe, but
Or
Yeah,
just
absolutely,
outgrow the tribe.
like
absolutely.
no, I mean outgrow is a big term because like a lot of people can maybe stop participating in the same lifestyle they used to live, but to turn their back on where they came from is corny. Whereas, like, I don't really think Snoop Dogg ever turned his back on hip hop. I think he's as hip hop as you
Yeah,
could be
no,
to this
he,
very day,
For sure, for
yeah,
sure.
down
he's
to
super like
releasing
involved in
music.
the culture. Yeah,
I don't
and
think he's
he's
ever
like,
even taken a break. He's just consistently released record after record after record his whole career.
and he's always had strong opinions on everything happening in the culture in rap, and he considers himself a rapper. He doesn't see no shame in it. Like, you know, he raps to this day. I'm subscribed to his channel, so like I'm very well aware of like what he's doing. So like, yeah, nah, Snoop is, you know, but again, that's what I'm saying. He's an ambassador. He's a representative, and he's out there like representing for hip hop by being there. Like
Right.
he's gotten to that point where um hip hop is like there because
If
he's there.
anything, I think brands bring him in when they want to add hip hop to whatever bullshit they're doing. And so he's like the
Hmm.
universal add some hip hop in a safe capacity kind of way.
Right. Right.
Which is crazy.
Which is crazy. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg had a case once upon a time, and people like really thought like, you know, so it's just crazy to see.
I mean, you know, the current your soon to be president is like also got a case and is like a criminal or however. So
Yeah,
like
yeah. I mean, it wasn't a murder case. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you
there's two
know,
different types
yeah,
of crimes and shit. But
that's true.
you know,
That's true. It's just
Yeah.
crazy to think that like it is crazy to see how like life just can change and you can always be like you can't let your past things stop you. Like you can't let like a criminal record or this stop you from going and achieving your goals because you never know. Like you may just have that. You may just have that. I don't know.
yeah, nah, for sure, definitely a fucking redemption story.
Shout
But
out
yeah,
Snoop Dogg.
so shout out Snoop Dogg, Olympics
Shout
news and shit.
Are
Um,
y'all following the
Dead,
Olympics too? Let us know in the comments. Because personally, I've watched no Olympic shit and I have not paid any attention. And had I not seen Flacco's post about the zero shits happening in American shooting, I would not have remembered the Olympics were happening. And Canada's only got 5 medals.
right? I definitely haven't been paying attention either. I always treat that though like a bunch of shit where it's just like I'll let my timeline inform me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I was never into the Olympics. Like I was just never ever into it. It wasn't a thing. Like I'm not really into sports that way. So I don't follow any of that shit. I'm like Flacco. I'll just let the timeline tell me what's what, and let me know if we win or not.
Man,
Yeah,
we have
something
two
something
golds,
exciting
Craig.
will happen, and it'll be in the news if something
Mhm.
exciting happens. Oh, matter of fact, something else did happen.
We won in
The
judo and
Netherlands,
swimming.
the Netherlands, the Netherlands put that convicted for rape
Oh, they okay,
athlete
yeah.
out and on the Olympic team for the Netherlands, and like he got super booed when they came out to play, and um, I think the
Oh
Netherlands
man.
coach reaction was like, "Why is everybody so upset?" Man,
Ah, the Dutch.
they are missing the mark, yo. Mm-mm-mm.
Not good.
Word. That's a fat L to catch. Like, yo, you just don't see it, huh? You just don't see it. I was just watching that video of the dude who's like told to spell out or to yeah spell out or F father, and he spells fat her, and he keeps on like being upset that like his kids are laughing at him spelling or reading out the word father as fat her and not seeing that it was father, and he gets like really upset, and then he like finally like sees it, and he's like, oh father, like, oh, that's the Dutch right now.
Yeah, that's a bad luck. Well, I guess that's the Olympics. I'm glad Canada can do judo the best. We're good at judo, apparently. Anyway.
Let me see what America has won. What gold medals has America won?
Yeah, we got women's 57 kilogram final in judo where we won, and then the women's 400 meter individual medley got a gold. So what I'm seeing is Canadian women are holding it down for us.
There we go. There we go. Thank you.
I just wasn't sure how to check all the other shit, but yeah, shout out the fucking women winning that shit.
Okay, so we got a gold. We got one gold medal in fencing and two gold medals in swimming. The United States.
So y'all are dropping the guns and picking up the swords, is what I'm hearing.
Crazy. America, baby.
Yeah. That's
Oh
it.
man. Oh man.
Good to see that. America has the most medals currently with 20 in total, although Japan is leading in the number of golds. And that is the Olympics portion of the show, everyone. So yeah, I guess next up we can talk about the Deadpool movie that I didn't watch, so I'm going to assume Flacco did watch it.
Question though, what your timeline look like? Is there a lot of people like talking about it in your timeline?
Everybody praised the shit at this movie. Everybody's making it sound like it's the best. The only critical post I saw was in fact from you, Flacco, and it had nothing to do with the movie, but maybe the choice of a certain actor in the movie that you would like to see replaced, and that would make you happier as a human being.
Yeah, man, I'm tired of fucking Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine. That shit is fucking so. It's like, bro, I'm over this shit already. Like, let's fucking move on. And the people being so like, yes, we want more of this same guy doing the same thing over and over for the rest of our lives. Is just like, I hate that mentality. And that becomes a real, like, a thing that, like, most people just agree on. And I'm just like, oh my God, fucking shit. I hate this.
No, but it's also how comic book fans are. If you look at any time anyone's ever made a change, it's like, rah, 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 I can't believe you're changing that this person made them black on some fucking imaginary bullshit based on some canon shit. So it's like the same mentality. Like, what would happen if, heaven forbid, Hugh Jackman busted up his legs and can't walk no more? And, he's out. He can't do movies for the rest of his life. So
they
is
would do what
Wolverine
they
out?
usually do. No, they do what they usually do. They find some excuse to fucking kill regular Wolverine, and then they have the new person. Like, that's what they usually do. No, like in every like movie or whatever, they just find some like, oh, we tossed
Nah,
them into
they
lava.
nah, you just move on, and it's just like you do it the
No
way
more
that they did the
Wolverine.
Batman movies in the Batman movies in the '90s, where you just so what? Like, yeah, like there's a new Batman. Like, what do you expect us to fucking start over or like explain to you that there's a different actor? Like, sorry, Val Kilmer's Batman this time. Oh well, too bad. Like, no, there's nothing said. It's just this is what it is.
Right,
Like,
right.
It
new
all
actor.
gets
Deal with it.
debated forever on YouTube videos. Which version of Wolverine was better, Hugh Jackman
Yeah.
and because like, like look
That's
at that
Spider-Man now.
I don't know if you ever saw the show Spartacus. That shit, the first season, the dude that played him was like stellar, but he got cancer, died, and so they had to replace him to keep it going. And in the universe, there was no explanation. Outside of the universe of the show, there was explanations. The directors and people explained what happened. In the movie, nothing would be explained because that would be fucking
Nothing's
weird.
explained. It's just like, yo, that's it. It's a new fucking actor. Like, get the fuck over it. These are movies. This isn't fucking documentaries. This isn't real life, motherfuckers. Like, this is a fucking movie, bro. And you gotta let like actors move on so that you can miss them and like debate somebody like else being better at the role, you
Just
know?
look
But
at
like
Doctor
the
Who.
Joker's a great example of that. Like people debate like who's the best Joker, and like yo, there's a bunch that are really great, you know.
I mean, people
And
debate the Spider-Man all the time. People debate Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland all the time. Who was the better Spider-Man? There's that meme. There's that meme where he fucking Tobey Maguire like questions everyone else, and they're like, "Oh, what is that?" And then Tom Holland, it's in the. I didn't see it. Anyway,
What?
basically,
Anyway.
so there's a video where like
No,
it's
okay,
Tobey
it's okay.
Maguire and there are three of them.
okay.
It's from that movie where they're all together in the same like universe, and basically
fine.
Toby proves that he's the real one. Anyway, sorry.
I don't know if the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans are the best example of Spider-Man now that we have history.
Man, he's the real
But-
Spider-Man. He's the one that can like shoot it out of his wrist. Everyone else has to like use mechanical.
Was it?
that's weird because that's not like the original Spider-Man to me. Like Spider-Man to me is the one with the shit on his wrist.
Oh really?
Like that's the Spider-Man from the '80s and the '90s, and
I just remember
like,
the '90s cartoon where that was the one that I really came into. Yeah, it had cartridges and shit. You had to like, anyway.
mhm.
I just
Yeah.
Chris,
I hate Tobey Maguire as an actor. He's another one that like all those early incarnations I feel like were just not done well. Everything before Iron Man was like, all right, this is cool, but like it wasn't that shit. It wasn't that like, oh shit. Um
Nah, I
it
hear
was
that.
like it was incremental movement towards that moment, right? Like I think a big moment was like the first time we saw like Colossus turn into steel on camera in like the first X-Men movie or something like that. What else was another moment like that? I guess Blade was a moment like that. There were moments, but like it really came together with like Iron Man, and that was the one that was really like, yo, this is really well done. This is like, and then the actor was
Yeah, I
Robert
agree.
Downey Jr., who's a legit
Super
actor.
facts.
Everything else before that was kind of like, I don't know.
Honestly,
So
it
like,
felt
I'm
like
not a big
real like
fan of.
corny, to be honest. Like I remember the
Yeah,
Hulk, the Fantastic Four, even the Spider-Mans. Like that
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man
Yeah,
3
or
was super
Tobey
fucking
Maguire.
mocked,
Yeah,
right?
cringe, super
He
cringe.
did the
Right,
emo scene and
with the
everything where he did his dance number
yeah,
and shit. Chris doesn't remember this. That's
I mean,
fine.
I
it's
do,
yeah,
and I guess the
that
emo
shit.
scene was kind of cringe, just but like to me, it was only cringe because he wasn't emo. Like that's not how I was introduced to him.
But
Like
it's
he was just
also
like
like
regular. And then,
those movies felt like they felt like cheap renditions of what was to come. Cause like
but that
Iron
for
Man
me was my
felt
childhood.
like, okay, if Iron Man felt like the story mattered as much as everything else happened, and I
Right.
think the earlier ones took place in that weird CGI era where like Michael Bay explosions were like the biggest thing in the world, and a lot of those movies were superfluous, over the top, from a graphical point of view, and the
Right, it's
stories
still
weren't
the story
exactly
were
great.
still right. The stories were still really basic on some like
Okay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone shit, like, bad guy, good guy shit, not very dynamic, the a lot of sexist shit that like it just didn't age well. You know what I mean? That you look back on it and it's just like all this is not good in retrospect. Iron Man is like 10 or 15 years old and we can all go still watch that and it'll be
I
like,
really
oh,
like
this
that
is this,
movie.
like you could see that it's literally like Terminator 2, where it's like, okay, technology hit, special effects hit a
Right.
new
Right. Right.
level in Hollywood, and this is the movie that's the benchmark because this director did it the right way and did everything the right way, incorporating this technology into the movie, and we're in a new world. And
So
that
Robert Downey
movie,
Jr.
Iron Man,
slayed that shit. Slayed that
was
shit.
was the
Yeah.
one that it was the new world, like it was different. Like before then, it was like I said, dog and pony tricks, like Colossus turning into steel was super cool, uh, but like there were no like it didn't have that feel of Iron Man of like, oh, holy shit. Like you see, like when we watched Iron Man, it was like, oh, immediately the like possibilities opened up in your head. And like a bunch of like comic books that you read as a kid became like, okay, I could maybe one day see an X Force or New Mutants or
Right.
Young Justice movie or
Right.
Kid Flash movie or Static Shock or Miles Morales or like, all these things that like people saw as a possibility at that moment, because then you saw like this is being done well and being done justice. Um, and before that, it wasn't that. Like it was cool moments. Like there were cool moments in the first Tobey Maguire movies, right? When you see Spider-Man like in the air, but it's like at a distance, like the special effects still aren't there all the way.
Mhm.
Like the up close scene of it isn't there. The feel isn't 100% there yet. So like, and Tobey Maguire is just like notoriously like Hugh Jackman, where I just feel like, yo, you're a weak actor. Like, yo,
But then,
I don't respect your acting at all, fam. Like, you're not like a list actor. Like, we're talking about like a fucking guy that's like fucking. Come on now, like
but
this
then,
guy isn't that
what
Definitely.
good.
about?
It's just nostalgia that people feel because he's the first Spider-Man they got to see.
Yeah.
So then it became nostalgia. But like Andrew Garfield was ideally a much like the best Spider-Man because he was the most comic accurate Spider-Man.
Right.
He
Right.
looked like Spider-Man. He talked like Spider-Man. He was quick with the wit like Spider-Man. He was jokey like Spider-Man in the comic books. He had that lanky look like Spider-Man. Like he was literally the perfect depiction of Peter Parker. And people were so obsessed with Tobey Maguire that they just let him like
Is that the
they were
second
like fuck
Spider-Man?
the second one.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my,
they
I
just
really
let
liked
they
him.
let his movies tank. And then they got him back in the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, and they were fucking sucking his dick. And I was like, you sons of bitches. People did that with Hannibal, the show that was based around Hannibal Lecter, the series of movies and shit. The show, I remember still having cable at this time and telling people to turn on their TVs and watch this show. And people just did not. They did not. And then years later, it gets to streaming, and everybody's like, oh my God, how did this show get canceled? Why? Bring it back, bring it back. And I'm just like, no, fuck you, fuck your life. I hate that, like, not appreciating the moment shit. Like, yo, just
That's
appreciate it in the moment. Like, yo, just
Yeah.
pay attention.
Or like that's what happened with Family Guy. Like it literally went 3 seasons. Fox was like, "Nah, fuck your life. You're not getting numbers." And the people bought it so much, Fox brought it back, and I really appreciate the first episode of season 4 of Family Guy where Peter just lists every fucking show that got canceled and picked up and canceled between Family Guy getting canceled and Family Guy getting picked back up. And the fact that they had to let Fox air that shit is, in my opinion, one of the best fuck yous in entertainment that I have ever seen delivered. And Seth MacFarlane is a funny guy.
Definitely not the first, but definitely a top tier. That's a.
But I do have a question, Flacco. Since have you seen the movie?
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I mean, we should cover the news on it first before you like.
Well,
hold
that's-
that thought.
Yeah, let's do it then. What's the news on it?
All right, so it released last Tuesday. The first week numbers are 444 million worldwide, 211 million domestically. It's the 34th consecutive MCU film to debut at number 1, and it is now the highest R-rating movie debut ever, surpassing The Joker.
So they're
Shoot,
gonna
Chris.
make their money back.
I was going to ask you if
they
you
already
agree.
made their money back.
Do you
So I
think
agree
that
with-
this saves Marvel? Like the big conversation that I'm understanding is this is the movie that saves Marvel, and that's my question to you because I haven't seen it yet.
Nah, that I made a post about like all the Marvel movies, and like I put like emoji of like either a trash bin or a fire emoji next to it,
Right.
and like I'm of the opinion that like Marvel has like a flawless track record essentially. Like you compare any other movie studio, like you never get like that run of like greatness of like that like after the first few, because it was like Iron Man was fire, but then like the first Captain America movie was like wild cheesy and corny.
Right.
And like the first Thor movie was wild cheesy and corny. Like it was trying to be like Hamlet and like all this bullshit. And it was just like that shit was corny. And the Hulk movie was, cringe and corny. You know what I mean? So it was like all this like fail right after the Iron Man movie. But and then they got their legs underneath them, and they got like the first Avengers movie out, and that shit's a classic. And then, they came with Captain America 2, Winter Soldier, which is like wildly considered like one of their best movies that like people love. Like it's considered like one of the best like modern spy, type of fucking movies. Then they came out with Guardians of the Galaxy, which is like James Gunn is like, people were like talking about that movie like it was the modern day Star Wars, and it was the new Star Wars for a new era and shit, you know? Like they went on a run.
Star Wars
We
did
can
fight
eventually
back.
get we can eventually get to a place where like they're dropping Black Panther and it's just like what are we talking about? Like we're getting a black superhero and kids everywhere. Like they've done so much amazing shit that I'm like, nah, it's just like that's just the thing people do, you know? They like to like cry, like, oh, this is it. Marvel is dying, MCU is dying, and it's just like you were just enjoying the Loki season 2 show. You were just enjoying X-Men '97 just a month ago. Literally, X-Men '97 just came out, and
Yeah,
people
that's a
were
fact.
just enjoying that shit. So it's just like, how is Deadpool saving it? It's like, didn't X-Men '97 just save it?
Well,
Didn't
because like basically
like
what's happening is Disney at like an earnings call level is going through it. They're having a few changes happening, and there's debating on whether or not Disney Plus in and of itself is strong enough to stay going. And I think people see that shit and link it to stuff like Marvel. And there was a couple of flubs recently, if I'm not mistaken. Not that I've seen them, but the timeline has told me there's been a few flubs in the Marvel world in the last year or two since their big like.
no, absolutely. They definitely have. But look, when we're talking about, think about what we're talking about. This is the 34th consecutive film to debut at #1 for Marvel, like for the
Right?
MCU, is just like, that's crazy. Like the 34th consecutive movie to debut at #1. So it's not like if this is saving it, it's like what? What was
Like even their
33 and
losses,
32
because
and
people also
31
got
and
like
30? Like
wild
what were
expectations, right? So like Marvel's like success threshold is you better be in the billions of dollars. So if they happen to only make 800 million, they're fucking shamed like they failed. Is a real thing that happens in like the Marvel world, despite the fact that the movie may in fact be profitable. It's just that it didn't necessarily make the numbers of some of their bigger ones, and then people act like, oh
yeah,
my god, they're going broke. But when you really look into it, like, bro, Marvel is like, they're set for life money. They could afford to lose
people
money for like 5 years and still that next banger would save them. It's basically like if Drake disappeared for 5 years and came back with a classic album, he'd be entirely forgiven.
listen, they're like they're not going to they're not going they're, they didn't fuck up crazy anywhere. You know what I mean? Like it was like, okay, this movie's not good, that movie's not good, but then this movie is good and this movie is good. You
Yeah.
know? It's just that everybody got spoiled. People are really spoiled, and like people expect like On Your Left and fucking Endgame for every movie now. And it's just like, what? They built up to that across 10 years and across like 20 something movies or something like that. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna get that again until like the 40th or the 50th movie. You know, like you shouldn't expect that every movie. Like that's absurd storytelling. Like that's Fast and Furious storytelling, and that is what people want. But it's like, nah, yo, that's
Well,
also not
it's what people
quality.
like
And
think they want, cause like people really want. People don't see the picture right now for where Marvel's going, which is I think where they're confused. Because remember when Marvel was kind of confused, they released this MCU plan and told people have faith. Here's the direction. All of this is going to be worth it. And once they did that, everyone was on board again. Once Marvel comes through with the next like game plan to help focus people so that they're not as confused, everyone's going to be on board with
I mean,
everything.
the thing is this is that it's been going on for so long that people are always going to all the tropes are there, right? There's people that are like, oh, um, I was just watching an interview with the director of Supercell, right? On Hot 97, and Laura Stiles was like, I haven't watched the show. Tell me a little bit about it because a lot of people have superhero fatigue, And he's just like, well, first off, this isn't a superhero movie. None of them are wearing spandex. They're just regular people who got powers, right? So it's just like people say things blindly without even knowing what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, if you want to be tired of it, you're gonna be tired of it. I could have horror movie fatigue. Like, how many horror movies don't drop every fucking year for my entire life? How many comedy movies don't drop every year for my entire fucking life? How many historical movies of white people killing dragons with swords and shields don't exist and come out every fucking year? Every fucking year for all of my fucking life, I've had that. From Troy to Braveheart to, it's always been fucking fed to me. So it's just like, yeah, I guess you can be tired of that the way I'm tired of like white
and just to
and
counter
fucking
that,
white people
just
in a multitude of ways. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, you know, like there's so many movies. You know what? You know what's another movie that I'm so tired of seeing? It's like the white woman victim movie. That it's just like, oh my god.
but like the shit's like
that's because all
wrestling,
the other
right?
women don't act like victims.
But check it, the shit's like wrestling. The people who watch wrestling watch it. It is the same shit. It is cleverly written sometimes. It is poorly written sometimes. But when you go to wrestling, like literally I pulled up at this wrestling show and I watched this chick get in stage and propose to next dude. Bro, their marriage got interrupted on the next episode. Like, it's wrestling. It's just this fucking soap opera.
I think that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
You know?
And
they wanted
the
their wedding to be a part of like a moment in wrestling history. You know?
And then I don't even know if it's a real wedding. It's just wrestling shit. No, I mean like it was in the storyline in the wrestling world, because it's like this fucking, and they watch the same people fight the same people over and over and over and over again. And I watched that shit, and for a year and a half I was super into it, and then I got tired of it. But you know what? That was my choice to get tired of it. There are people who never get tired of it.
Never get tired.
They just love it to the day. They don't even want it to change. In fact, sometimes the cornier it gets, the more they love it, and like they don't even care if they wrestle.
Right. The more specific, right, like people are like into like things, the more specific they get about the way that it is presented and want it to be. You know, New York hip hop to like wild to millions of people, right, who've been born, live, and like move and still claim New York, right? They move places, and like to them, New York hip hop is the only hip hop. They're like, what? This is absurdity. Nothing can ever be as great as Biggie and Jay-Z and Nas and, you know, like all these guys. And they're like, well, I don't listen to anything except this because this is the best shit ever. But and then there's people like that for everything. There's people like that from an era in Atlanta that are like, yo, all I listen to is like, and then like it's and insert circa a particular era of Atlanta music here, you know, and like they're all in for that. And then everybody from each, you know, like I'm pretty sure people from New Orleans during the like No Limit Cash Money days have like you know, they just, yo, this is what they listen to, and they don't give a fuck. Like I don't give a fuck about no new shit. All I care about is this old shit that like touches my heartstrings for a particular era, you know?
Right.
It's like my childhood. Honestly, and that's usually what people are like, you know, reminiscing on is their childhood, you know? And they're like, man, I remember being in high school and like, I remember when Juvie dropped, or I remember being in high school when fucking NWA dropped, or I remember being in high school, and everybody has these, you know, particular to their region, you know, just this music and this era, and it's that era, you know, it's that particular era that they're like nostalgic for.
Yeah.
I just like music. I just generally like.
Nah,
listening
Chris,
to
you
music.
part of that Lil Wayne run. We did all these reviews where you were like, I'm part of that Lil Wayne in high school run.
Yeah, nah, you have
But
things. You have things. You
You
got
like
things that
Migos, all that shit.
you'll throw. We all like, we're all human, right? So like we all have those like songs that do unlock memory. You know,
yes,
it's
yes.
just. Are you the type of person that stays stuck in that memory, or are you the type of person that like moves on, creates other new memories, and then just goes back to
No,
that
I'm
song
the
when they
second
want to?
person.
You know, yeah, exactly. I'm
Yeah.
second person as well. You know what I mean? But like, you know, it doesn't matter. Everybody still has those like, oh, I remember being in high school and
Yeah.
Holden is always talking about DMX and like
I
discovering
do like
DMX
me
in
some.
high school. You know,
It's a
like
good time.
there's that
Wild
person
memories.
for there's that artist for every, you know,
Right.
body
Or
on
Papa
earth.
Roach.
You
I
know,
got wild memories from high school shit. I love that shit. Although it was back in the day stuff.
back in the days when you were a child, some could say that you were childish. Speaking of
That's fair.
Childish Gambino dropped a new album, Bando Stone and the New World. The
I know
album
about.
goes along with a movie, which we have a trailer to that Holden's gonna pull up real quick. The album dropped. I checked out the album. I listened to the whole album, um, all the way through one time. Um, I started listening to it on my phone, and I got to like, I don't know if it's the second song or the third song, but like I got to like the second or third song, and like uh after the drop and when the like main part of the song came in, I like paused it and I was like, yo, I had to put it on like the main um speakers in the bedroom for me and the wife to listen to because I wanted her to hear that song because it had like, oh, you know what? Let's play the trailer.
Hello? Hello? Mail?
Don't move. Who are you?
It's me, Bando Stone.
The singer, Starlight, Let's Make It Happen, Party Monkey. It's not truth or dare, you can party everywhere, let your party monkey. All right, you don't know who I am, that's fine.
You're gonna need help. I can help you.
We have to get to the other side of the island. We can only move in the daytime.
It's a little slow, why not at night?
Because that's when everything comes out.
A little creepy, but that's fine.
Can you shoot?
What?
Can you hunt?
Yeah, wait, why does
Do you
this
know how
look
to
so
fish?
cool though?
No?
Do you know how to set a trap?
I can sing.
You're useless.
Are we gonna die?
Move! Run! We gotta go! We gotta go! I'm fine. Let's go.
Pick on me like that, great. Don't pick on me like that.
That's the soundtrack. The album itself, this album that Childish Gambino dropped, is the soundtrack to this movie. And it was really good. He he had like a couple songs on there. Like I said, with that song that I'm talking about, that like when I got to it, I was like, I had to put it on the main speakers. It was like it started out kind of like just like a dope song, and then it turned into like a kind of like 90s indie rock type of song. And like it was a nice pocket for Childish. And I was just like, I knew that the wife would probably like appreciate the music itself, so I put it on. And yeah, we listened to it, and like the whole album was fire. We enjoyed the whole thing, front to back. Like it's got like a lot of old Childish type of things and a lot of new Childish type of things, and it's kind of like the best of like all the things that he's learned across the years. But it's a really good album. He's got a Drake diss song on there, I believe. Pretty good song. I added it to my playlist. Yeah.
Oh, is that the one where he like, mentions the house? Saw like a short about it.
Yeah, something like that.
He's like, I saw your address on the GPS or something like that. But yeah, Bonnie listened to the album and she found it a little sluggish toward the end, but overall pretty good.
Right. Yeah, I am also a super Childish Gambino fan. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some. Since we already started with one trailer,
we already started.
Let's get to more trailers and hit them with cinematic perspectives.
I was looking at one of those boxes in the store.
Since Deadpool came out, I was like, this was supposed to be last week, but I was like, yo, you know what?
I told you, you're not welcome here. You're not welcome anywhere. Now get the fuck out of my bar.
Just give me one more drink and then I'll leave.
Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
All right, well, I'm sort of on the tick-tick, so upsy daisy. Here we go. Oh, whiskey dick of the claws. It's quite common in Wolverines over 40.
You don't want this.
Unless you want to take a deep breath through your fucking forehead, I suggest you reconsider. I'm about to lose everything that I've ever cared about.
Not my fucking problem.
Is that what you said when your world went to shit?
Come again.
This Wolverine let down his entire world.
Want to talk about what's haunting you, or should we wait for a third act flashback?
Go fuck yourself.
I don't know anything about saving worlds, but you do.
Trust me, kid, I'm no hero.
You were an X-Man. You were the X-Man. I am soaking wet right now.
Boys are so silly.
This is what I'm talking about. Big slow motion action sequence. Who knows if you live or die? Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Want to do some cocaine?
Hey, cocaine is the one thing that Feige said is off limits.
What about Bolivian marching powder?
They know all the slang terms. They have a list.
Even snowboarding?
Even disco dust.
White girl interrupted?
Even forest bump.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yes! But I can't.
Yeah, yo. It was a good movie. It was entertaining. It was entertaining. Ryan Reynolds is he's passionate about the character. That's like probably like should be the most important thing for all of this shit. Is that like the actor themselves have a passion for the character? Because if they do, then the actor will bring the shit to life more than, you know, just like somebody who's just like, you know, going through the motions, you know.
I guess that might bring us full circle from earlier back in the podcast where like that's why Hugh Jackman's still there, no? Like he might just really love the character, and I think like as for having Deadpool and Wolverine, you'd want the two people you've always had since the beginning. I haven't seen it yet. I'm excited to see it. It makes me want to go back and watch like the original series. That's how a lot of these movies end up happening. They kind of get me with like the crossovers, and then I'll go back and watch all the individual storylines and catch up, and then watch the big movie that came out. So it looks dope.
Right.
Looks dope.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Next trailer. I think that this one's coming out this week. I mean, that one's out already, you know? So that's why I was like, yo, next trailer, let's move on. And I already seen it.
Let's go have some fun.
Once there was a boy named Harold. With his purple crayon, anything he drew came to life.
Come on, everybody!
As he got bigger, so did his imagination.
Who's the porcupine? Let's go to the real world.
That's not how it works, Harold. You can't just...
Whoa.
Oh, that is how it works.
And one day...
We're going after him, right?
Nope. They stepped right into our world.
It's so beautiful. Look at all the friendly people.
Get lost, Smurf.
Here's my antlers. The real world is even cooler than I imagined it was gonna be.
Look out! Are you okay?
My insides are coming to my outside.
I thought I saw a moose.
I'm a moose.
Oh my god, you have a concussion.
Come on, Harold can do magic.
With this little guy, I can make whatever I want. You try.
That's spider fun.
Oh, now that is creative. And terrifying. That's terrifying.
I'm gonna triple lock the door.
Do you know what brought you to life? It's what your crayon is made of. The most powerful, extraordinary stuff on Earth. Wax. Pure imagination. You can't use the crayon all by yourself. It's too powerful. Let me help you.
I don't trust him. He's up to something.
With this crayon,
Nothing could stop me. Ooh, it's a porcupine.
we're gonna figure out how to stop that guy.
With this.
You'll have to do better than that.
Oh. Okay, I am getting really good at this.
What were you thinking?
Oh, no, honestly, I don't do a lot of thinking.
Harold and Purple Crayon. What you think, guys?
You're muted, dude. Like I can't hear you.
I turned my mic down. I would watch that
up?
movie so fucking hard. That looks like such a good movie. I'm
feel
just
like-
just bring back all the inner joy of being a child and shit. And like, yo, the power of imagination battling on who can draw the most crazy shit. Oh man, that sounds like a good get real high and watch a movie kind of moment.
I think
shroom it up and watch.
I do agree.
Just say that.
I don't know. I'm kind of like it's gonna do what it's gonna do. It's gonna be one of those like person doesn't know the real world, gonna learn a bunch of real world things, and it's gonna teach us all a bunch of life lessons. And then the whole message of like keeping imagination alive, don't kill the kid in you, be like happy and love life and all that shit. Like I just feel like I already like I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
you already know where it's going.
right. Like we just had If, and now we just have the purple crayon. We had the big purple imaginary friend, and now we have the purple crayon. I'm liking the fact that everything's purple lately, but like however, I'll like snuggle up with the wifey and watch it
you
with
can
her.
watch it because it's
I am
appealing.
Just I'm not like, oh, gotta go do that right
You're
now.
gonna, yeah. You're not excited about it.
No.
I'm not excited about it either. I'll watch it when it comes to streaming, but yeah, it's not like it's like doing anything that's, and I do agree they're definitely, but that's Hollywood. That's how Hollywood works, right? Where like they get like a couple scripts where like they all kind of go for it, and it's kind of like the same thing in a variety and variation, and like they pick a different director that has a different direction for the idea and turns it into something else.
As far as family,
we have Imaginary Friend and
this looks really fun.
Yeah, definitely looks fun too. Definitely looks fun too. Dope concept. I like the crayon being able to
book.
bring shit to life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do think that it was cool how they gave the people the animals into real people, so that was cool. But I also do think that it could have been even funnier if they were actually talking animals. Like kind of have that
100 times.
So is like keeping your imagination alive, and yet
with a purple crayon. Anyway, Chris.
Hey guys, it's Live in the Big City, and guess what?
Why is this so GTA like?
Start with a cute pic. Fucking cute. Yes. Find what's trending.
Make out.
Got it. Piggyback off that. Okay, ready? Now say fake as post. Fake as post.
Ma'am?
You fucking bitch. Jealous. Okay. Why are you doing this?
Fuck me. I can't die a fucking virgin.
What the?
Oh, and remember, if you get stabbed, don't post anything about it. Victims are so played out.
Wait, did they just was that like a snitch? Did they just tell us who the killer was?
I don't know. We would have to watch to know.
Fair.
That song is so good, and I just want to listen to that song for the next hour.
It seems a little different than than other horror movies I've watched recently. I want to watch it, but I think like I'm also kind of sitting here like, so this is a whole other. My friends are clout chasing. Here is the power of social media. This is now turning into drugs problem, and I'm gonna like prove to everybody your main consequence if you don't act right, and I'm gonna kill you all. Type movie.
but with the neon mask that you could buy on Facebook.
yeah. I don't know, man. It looks cool. Like, don't get me wrong, the beat's wicked. I'm excited to like figure out which room has that like that'd be cool. But like overall,
Imagine you watch the movie and that song's not even in it one time.
I would flip. Like, it's only the end. It's the rolling credits. It's the intro and the rolling credits.
And where did you watch it, Flacco?
I might end up watching it like when it's on streaming, and if I'm bored, you know, the wife wants to watch it. We've watched something else like this during pandemic. There was like a Zoom horror movie that came out. Like people were on Zoom sharing, but like it was an official movie. It was pretty good. It was also like another like, you know, social media murder movie that came out that was like, oh, this is a good idea initially, but it was also like forgettable clearly because I can't remember it. I think more so I put this trailer here because I got a funny feeling people might end up like talking about this movie a lot. I don't know. It's just like an idea. Sometimes like there's movies that come out that like everybody just kind of like ends up liking and talking about. And so my job, I guess, is to kind of try to predict that with the trailers, previews, and pick movies that I think people will end up watching in mass.
Yeah.
It's one of those sleepers that might just kind of bang low key, and then we're gonna like have all the memes happen, and then the memes are gonna make it popular, and then suddenly it's like we're now gonna watch it.
Maybe. We'll see what happens when it comes.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are y'all up to in the following weeks?
I am planning a new song rollout. I'm working on some video edits. We have a little fun, interesting concept happening, and that's also being linked to some other drops that I will talk about in the coming weeks. And just a lot of work, a lot of prepping for this move that I have coming right around the corner. So work, throw stuff out, and release a song.
And you, Flacco?
The wife's birthday is this weekend. So super, you know what I mean? Just taking her out, showing her a good time in the city. Yep, that's it. Just catering to the wife for the weekend and the week and the next week.
Fair. There's this big hip hop festival in the city this weekend. I don't know if it's a festival, a block party. It's a block party. Ghostface Killer's coming up, so it's at least got a lot of backing. A lot of people in the city are performing, so I'm gonna go pull up at that at least for the Saturday. Then on Sunday, I'm going to a weed store to perform on a beach, so that'll be fun. I'm excited to go. Bonnie just was wanting to go to a beach, so I'm like, this is perfect timing because there will be a beach right there that you'll get to go to. And so that'll be something fun to go do. And over the course of the week, definitely a lot of working and trying to get everything moving forward, but working and whatever we can do to make some extra money and get to a point where life is a little smoother. But this weekend is definitely going to be that block party and the weed store show. Yeah, so I guess that's it then, everyone watching. We appreciate you being here with us. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff that, you know, you're supposed to do with these YouTube situations, and share with your friends. Let them know that we out here and that we, if you want to come watch it with us live Mondays at 7 p.m. And yeah, that's about it on my end. Thank you all for coming. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. And live long and prosper, everyone.
Bye.